my thing is weight training, right?
Okay.
So I strongly believe that everybody should weight train. It's beneficial to everybody to be stronger.
Right.
And a big part of it was trying to encourage people to train using weights. Now, it doesn't have to be strength training. Maybe you don't have the equipment to do that. But for a lot of people, the first step is just getting comfortable holding dumbbells in your hands. It feels so unfamiliar, and people are so nervous of this concept.
All right. Welcome back to a new episode of Tell Me Why. Joining me in the studio today is a 3-time Olympian and a speed skater, an ex-speed skater, and a coach, a fitness coach. Sarah, how are you? Sarah Lindsay.
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
It's lovely having you. Lovely seeing your beautiful smile this early in the morning.
Yeah, it's kind of fixed. It's always there pretty much.
No, but that's fantastic. So, Sarah, today's topic really hits home. I feel like it's something that I've struggled with most of my adult years, and I think a lot of people can relate as well. Staying fit or getting fit. Like, it's always that struggle of how do I stay fit? How do I get fit? What if I failed so many times and I just give up? Before we dive into that, I just want to know a bit more about yourself, and for our listeners who want to get to know you a bit more, can you tell us how did you start your journey? Tell us about representing Great Britain in the Olympics. Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Okay. I mean, it spans over a long period of time, right?
Yeah.
So my first Olympics I was 21. So that was 2002.
Wow. Okay.
I did 2006 and then 2010. And then after 2010, I retired. But then obviously before that, you're training for years and years and years. So it was like a 20-year full-time sport career. So that was all I did.
Okay.
I lived and breathed it every day from 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. We were accountable. Everything we were doing was geared around our next training session, our next competition, our next performance.
Okay.
And you did maybe 10 competitions a year. So it was full on, you had 3 weeks off a year.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
So yeah, I did that for 20 years. And then when I retired, I mean, obviously super fast through that period. And then I retired and I started personal training.
Okay.
I'd actually qualified as a personal trainer in 2000. So I was still early days of skating.
Wow.
And I just did it because in the time off that we had every year, like I said, we had 3 weeks off. And back then personal training courses were 12 weeks, 6 days a week.
Right.
So I split it into 3 years. And I did the course during the off season because you're used to being so consumed with, performing and your thoughts and everything being around skating. And then you have 3 weeks of nothing really to do or think about, which I found quite difficult. So yeah, I threw myself into that, and I did that for 3 years in the off seasons. And I coached the national figure skating team for their strength and conditioning program. So I was putting some of that knowledge into practice. But personal training, the general public, was very different to coaching athletes, which I learned very quickly when I retired and started personal training full time.
Okay.
So I spent a couple of years really learning the craft on the gym floor, as many clients as possible, as diverse as possible. And then I decided I wanted to set up my own thing.
Okay.
So that's where that journey started, if you like.
Well, that's a beautiful segue. So your own thing is Roar Fitness, and that was one of the questions that I had in mind.
Okay.
Let's talk about that then, since we mentioned that. So when did you, how did you come up with the idea? That must have been a huge step. It's a massive platform. Tell us about the classes. Tell us about the type of classes and how many classes you offer.
So, I mean, Raw Fitness is known for being a private personal training studio.
Right.
So we have 3 in London now. We have 2 in the city and 1 in High Street, Kensington.
Okay.
And then we moved to Dubai to do Raw 4, so our first international, if you like. So we're known for the before and after results, the results that the clients achieve. It was what we're kind of famous for. And then it was a couple of years ago, actually more during the pandemic, where I came up with the class concept that I wanted to launch as well.
Okay.
I think one of the reasons, I mean, I needed stuff to do, right? We were closed for a year and I was like,
Exactly,
okay, I'm going to go mad. What am I going to do? But I think it just made it more accessible for more people, because to do Raw, you have to have the finances. You have to live near enough.
Right.
You have to be able to get to us.
Right.
And you have to be able to dedicate, your time and your emotion into doing something I mean, for some people, fairly drastic, a big life change and everything. So,
of course.
But lots of people want to be part of Raw. We've got a strong brand. So the classes meant that you can come in and do a physical class. Again, you need to be local enough. It's only at the site in Kensington. But we did an online platform as well. So all the classes were live streamed. All of those streamed classes were also archived. So you just have to join the platform with a low cost, and then you can access any of the classes whenever you want to do them.
That's amazing.
So you've got a library of maybe 500 different workouts that you can just jump on and do whenever you feel like it.
And what type of workouts are there? So like what are the classes that you offer? Are they I don't know. Are they mainly weight training? Are they cardio? Like what is it? So
my thing is weight training, right?
Okay.
So I strongly believe that everybody should weight train. It's beneficial to everybody to be stronger.
Right.
And a big part of it was trying to encourage people to train using weights. Now, it doesn't have to be strength training. Maybe you don't have the equipment to do that. But for a lot of people, the first step is just getting comfortable holding dumbbells in your hands. It feels so unfamiliar, and people are so nervous of this concept.
Yes.
And now everyone wants to weight train, but a lot of people don't know how.
Yeah.
So that was the idea behind it, is trying to get people comfortable using weights, giving them an introduction. And then for people that are a little more advanced or already know how to train or are stronger, then it's just a brutal workout.
Yeah.
The more you lift, the more intensity you can create, right? So you choose.
Yeah.
It's suitable for everybody, because it just really depends on the load selection, on the weight that you decide to lift.
Right. I think the most important thing that you mentioned is educating the people on weight training, because I feel like a lot of people have misconceptions about weight training. A lot of girls will be like, oh, but I don't want to bulk up. And it's not necessarily the case. And I've had a trainer who said, like, you can do this consistently for like a year and you won't bulk up, because there's so much going on with weight training, like with the muscle, like how your muscle, contracts and retracts, and how it builds. So there's a lot.
It doesn't happen by accident.
Okay.
Right.
Exactly.
To gain muscle, you've got to fight for that. You have to have the genetic potential to be able to gain muscle. A lot of people don't have that.
Oh, well, there you go.
You
There's
have to lift heavy.
Factor.
Yeah, for sure there's a genetic factor.
Yeah.
How fast twitch are you?
Yeah.
That will play a big part. And if you're actually recruiting the muscles, if you're activating the muscles that you're trying to work. But then after the genetic potential, you have to look at if you're strong enough. You have to lift heavy weight to be able to stimulate the muscle and cause the damage to be able to grow. So you've got to be strong. It takes a serious period of time, so it won't happen overnight. You won't wake up and go, oh no, look at my biceps.
Yeah.
There's a journey to get there.
It's like, where did that come from?
If you don't like it, you can change it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I said, it's not something that happens over time. And the other thing is you have to eat. You have to eat deliberately for that purpose.
Right.
So it's hard. You have bodybuilders who are working for years and years and years, taking pharmaceuticals and doing everything in their power to be able to gain small amounts of muscle.
Yeah.
So for a woman who's starting out, who isn't strong, it's never going to happen by mistake, like I said. So that's not a worry, I don't think. And I think actually people have moved on quite a lot from that idea, I've found anyway. I think people, maybe 10, 15 years ago, people stopped asking me anyway, the clients that come into us stopped asking to be skinny and started wanting to be strong.
Well,
so that was a nice switch.
Yeah, it's a shift in mindset.
I
think,
sure.
And I think trends also tend to affect that. But I think it's also that shift in mindset, that body image shift that everyone has gone through. Okay, so you've been dubbed Britain's body transformation queen. And I love that. I absolutely love that nickname. Can you tell me some of the success stories? They don't necessarily have to be famous people, but just some of the success stories that you've witnessed, like some of your clients who you've seen transform over the course.
I mean, we have thousands and thousands of clients that have come through the doors and done amazing things.
Yeah.
And, like I said, we're known for this before and after, these images. And in each gym, we have a wall of fame. So we have a wall with, the clients'
that's motivational.
Pictures.
That's really nice.
Yeah, because everybody looks at, before people start, everybody looks at them and they look at the before pictures and they say, right, who do I look like? What am I going to look like after? They're trying to see themselves in these pictures. So it's always the more the better. But to be honest, it's 5% of people that say yes to using those pictures, right?
Okay.
So it's actually a very small number of people that want those pictures and images out there. And even when people are super proud of what they've done and what they look like and everything, but they'll look back at their before picture and they'll forget. They'll be like, gosh, can't believe I started there.
Yeah.
I don't, recognize that person anymore. So I completely understand why people wouldn't want to, because a lot of the time it reminds them of a time where they weren't feeling good, which is why they came to us in the first place.
Exactly.
So I completely understand, people not wanting that. But, I look at these pictures and I never get tired of looking at them, because I know everyone.
Yeah.
It's still, it's still a small business. I know most of the clients that have come through the door.
Right.
I know the journey they've been on, why they started in the first place. They might have cried in their consultation with me. And that they come in feeling bad and they leave feeling amazing. And it's not just that picture. It's not just, the physical, what they look like, but the fact that they gained so much confidence with the strength that they gained, the physical capabilities that they gained, which is hugely underestimated.
Yeah.
It's not just what you look like. And people come for that, but then later down the line, they start to care about their performance on the gym floor. They start to get into weight training, and then they become proud of what they can do.
Right.
And of course, that translates into everything else in their life.
Yeah. And that high from the achievement is just, it's fantastic. Like, I feel like when someone just loses a kilo or two, or like sees a difference in their body, it really changes your mood. It changes everything. Like, it gives you that boost. Exactly. You feel like a winner. Exactly. Okay. So our show is called Tell Me Why. Obviously, this is the first thing that you looked at and you loved it. And I love that you loved it, because I'm always the kind of person that likes to ask, tell me why, because tell me why questions, because I feel like there's always a reason behind things. So tell me why, in your opinion, as a fitness coach and a nutritionist now, like you've done a lot of work with nutrition as well. Tell me why it's still difficult for people to get up, get fit, eat healthy, and stay active. Why is that still why is there that constant struggle to stay fit and be healthy and like stay active?
I think the hardest thing for people is the education behind it. People don't know what's right. People don't know what's going to help them. And everybody knows that, burgers might make you gain weight, salads might, not, for example. There's some obvious ones that people
cliches,
know. Yeah, of course. But people can eat really healthy and it still not be conducive to fat loss, for example. They can still be overeating or, eating the wrong foods at the wrong time, which means they don't get the results and they feel like they're sacrificing a lot and not getting anywhere. And that can be frustrating. And they think, well, why am I doing it then? And, you try and educate yourself, or you try to learn, and you read an article, you turn the page and it's the opposite information on the page to the page before. So what are you supposed to do? It's really hard. And the answer to that is that there's no, off-the-shelf plan that works for anybody. It's supposed to work for everyone. It doesn't work for anyone. It has to be individual. Everybody's, I know, it's a bit of a caveat on this stuff when people want the right answer, or the answer for them, but everybody is different. Okay. And everybody's journey is different. So really the tough thing is, finding where to start the journey. And once you start, I think, the more you learn and the more you understand about your body, then it's easier. And as soon as you get a bit of a result, then you're motivated. But, people want it overnight. And, some of these things take a bit of time. Yeah. And that's part of what makes it worth it as well, But it's, staying consistent, believing in whatever the plan is that you made and keep executing it. And then, if, for example, we keep talking about weight, it's not everybody's goal at all, but if you were trying to lose weight and you do something for 3 weeks and the weight doesn't shift at all, at least if you've been consistent, you know that you need to move what you've done on. Don't just change it all or throw it all out the window and try the next thing that you read or you come across. It's like, so I've been doing this. What can I, do to move this forwards and try the next thing? So maybe you just need to, I don't know, halve your dinner or eat your dinner earlier or go for an extra walk or whatever. But, but make small changes and try and enjoy the process. We're talking about it like it is sacrifice, or like it's really hard, or it's, it's tough for people. But if you see it as, a positive challenge and a positive, because if you're changing your nutrition, for example, and you're eating healthier, that's still good for you. Yeah. That's still good and healthy for your body, which you deserve. You still deserve to be well and healthy. Of course. So I think not just seeing everything as a loss just because you didn't get what you wanted immediately.
Yes. I think that's key. It's frustrating, though. I have to admit, I have a friend who's had a bunch of health complications, and she had to lose the weight just so that her body can sort of like start healing, the healing process. Obviously, she was trying to do it the right way, which is eating healthy, following up with a nutritionist, making sure she's getting in, getting her steps in, doing her workout. But to be honest, I understood where her frustration was coming from, because she didn't necessarily see the difference in her body. Mm-hmm. She didn't feel lighter, but maybe she felt healthier. And she felt like, okay, I got in the good habits, but where are the results? Yeah. And she stayed like that for quite some time, I think 6 to 8 months. And she felt like she was still plateauing. She didn't make the progress she needed. And I think that's key, what you said, is not to throw it all away, but to make certain changes so that you can see the progress. But then what would your advice be to someone that feels frustrated or, feels like giving up?
Well, it's an experiment, right? So that's just your starting point. If you decided, right, you have to have a plan. You have to, you can't just wing it and just every day try not to eat. Or try to eat less. Or try, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not the answer. You have to have a plan.
Of course.
Make a plan. As the more detail in it, the better, obviously. And that can seem a bit daunting sometimes. But you need to sit down with a pen and paper, make some real notes, and decide what you're going to do. Right. Then you have to just execute it and see what happens. And like I said, if the result isn't happening, then you just have to look at what you're doing and make a change and move it forwards. But of course, it's frustrating. But like I said, it does take time. You have to be patient too. Okay. Nothing happens overnight, whether you're trying to gain muscle or lose fat or win a medal. It's of course it's years and years. If you talk about the Olympics, it's a 4-year cycle for each Olympics, and your first Olympics probably isn't the one that you're going to win. Yeah. So actually, it might be 8 or 12 years training for one race. When you think of it like that, and you think, gosh, that's a big commitment, right?
Yeah, that puts it into perspective. Like you see like what kind of commitment you're making.
Yeah, and I think that's the same with business as well. Right? People, again, now they want to start a business and it to be successful, in a week. Or I've been doing this for a year. A year, you get businesses. You talk to people who are hugely successful, and it's like they've been doing this for 40 years.
Yes,
to be able to get to where this thing is. People think these things happen overnight, but just because you didn't hear about it, it's like, wow, this thing came out of nowhere. No, it didn't. They were doing it for 15 years before you heard the name.
Exactly. Yeah, he probably had $20 in his pocket when he first started.
Oh, he's failed 3 times.
Exactly.
He's lost his business, started again.
Exactly. Precisely. Okay, so you mentioned something that I absolutely love, because I feel like we're all overwhelmed. We're all bombarded with this information that sort of contradicts the information that you've been fed all these years. So you always look at these articles that are like, oh yeah, low carb diets. And then another one that says, no, it's a balance of all. And no, you need sugar, but no, you don't need sugar. And it's just, I feel like people are overwhelmed with the information that they're being fed, or like the information that they're reading on a day-to-day basis. And obviously social media is I want to say helping and not helping in this in this respect, because I feel like we're misled most of the time. Mm-hmm. What is your perfect combination? Like, what do you think is like the good advice for someone who just wants to start off somewhere?
Well, this is actually, you talk about social media, but this is why one of the reasons I don't put specifics on my social media. I very rarely talk about food, because people always say, what do you eat? They always ask me, what do you eat and what do you lift? What weight are you using for that? The exercise demos that I was doing, and say, it's irrelevant. Don't worry about me. Yeah. These are your guidelines. So with regards to the amount of weight to lift, for example, it should be decided by the rep range. Okay. So if you're doing, I don't know, say 10 to 15 reps you're going to do, then the weight should be as much as you can lift for those given reps. Mm-hmm. So if you can't get to 10 reps, you only get to 6, it's too heavy. If you get to 15, you think I could do 30 reps, it's too light, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to find that for yourself. Don't worry about what I'm lifting. Yeah. Don't worry about what I'm eating, because I'm not on the same journey as you. I've not got the same body as you. Our metabolisms may be different. I might use, different energy in different ways and everything. So again, it's so hard. People want the answer, right?
Exactly.
They just want me to say what it is.
It's true, yeah.
I think you have to think about, as far as food goes, for example, you should think about nourishing your body. I think that's very important. So whatever the nutrition plan is, whatever your goals are, underlying it should be optimal health.
Right.
So, which people don't care about. If they're desperate for a result, then they don't necessarily care about it. They'll eat, whatever crappy protein bar or whatever shakes they're going to drink to cut calories or whatever.
Right.
But if your body, you'll rebound from that.
Yeah,
so if your body is not healthy, if the tissue that your body is made up from junk food, then all the cell processes won't happen as efficiently. Right. So whether that's gaining muscle, losing fat, but also your organ tissue is eventually made up from your food, kind of indirectly, but it still is. It's the nutrients you absorb from the food that decide how healthy all your functions are.
Of course.
So if those things don't work well, if your digestion isn't on point, for example, and you're not absorbing your nutrients from your food, then where are you going to get your energy from? How are you going to recover from your training? Right. How is that, that process of losing fat going to happen if the body doesn't function well? So the first thing to do is, if you're starting out and you don't know where to look, the first thing to do is look at the quality of your food.
Okay.
That's, for me, the most important thing. Okay. Not, how much of this and that and getting down to the numbers, because, you can do it in a million different ways.
Of course.
Some people can lose fat on a high carb, low fat diet. And then other people, the exact opposite, right? So some people love intermittent fasting, some people, so I think, like I said, there's a million different ways of getting the same result. But the first thing is, are you looking after yourself? Nourish the body, look after your body, do it because you love yourself, not because you're trying to punish it for not being what you want yet.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. Okay. So I just wanted to talk about training celebrities. This is something that I saw in your profile, and I thought that would be an interesting point to talk about. Sure. Like, maybe just talk about some of the challenges you may have faced with training celebrities, and what are the perks of it, maybe, and some of the celebrities you've trained. Maybe name a few if you can.
Challenges. I think so. We were really lucky with Raw One. It was a super speakeasy kind of setup, right? Okay. We had no advertising. There was no shop front. We were in a basement in an office block.
Okay.
So, and I never advertised. So I never told anybody. Just it was all word of mouth. And we were lucky enough just to have a few people that I knew and people that were familiar faces in London who came in and then obviously posted about it and made me start Instagram, because I didn't do any social media back then. And that kind of got the word out. And I think when they see it's, say, safe, but when it's safe for one person to come in or one person with profile to come in and train and not get bothered, there's no paps, they can't see you, or there'd be no point in me phoning PAPS, for example, because there's no sign outside, so you can just take a picture of somebody walking down the street, but it doesn't come back to me at all. So so people, without knowing me, automatically felt safe that this was a good place to be. And there's no phones on the gym floor. We have to get permission for that kind of thing. So everybody's training with their trainer. So nobody's walking around approaching anybody.
Right.
Everybody is just with their trainer, who has control of their client. So I always think it felt super safe. And then when people just spread the word, everybody brings somebody.
Right.
So which is why, for the first, 6 years, we didn't pay for PR or marketing.
Oh, word of mouth.
All word of mouth. All word of mouth and social media. And people just, happy to do it. I didn't gift anybody anything. Everybody just came in, trained because they wanted to sign up. They wanted to be part of it. They wanted to get the job done. And then I think if you do a good job in-house, then people talk about it. They walk around looking and feeling amazing and telling everybody.
Right.
So then we kind of got this rep for being the place where celebrities go. And that actually puts a lot of people off. So I say that's one of the biggest challenges. People think that it's just for, celebs and the, body beautifuls and athletes. And it's like, no, 95% of our clients are, regular people working nearby and living nearby. So I think that was the only real downside with that, is that people thought it wasn't for them because it was, designed for other people.
Okay. And were they committed? Did you find that celebrities were actually committed to their fitness journey? Did you feel like it was part of their day-to-day routine?
Yeah, so everybody has different goals, like I say. So not everybody comes for this transformation, right? So not everybody wants to do a before and after, and they might be very slim and in shape already, which, you know, a majority of celebrities are.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Because they're in the public eye. They're thinking about it
yeah.
all the time. They're on telly, and sometimes
Exactly.
that's part of the reason, because they look good.
Exactly.
So they might not have this thing to do, but they understand that they want to be healthy and they want to feel strong and they want to sleep better and perform better and be alert and, you know, for cognitive function to improve and all those things that come with exercise, and, you know, for mental health benefits and anxiety and everything. There's nothing better you can do for yourself than work out.
Right.
So I think, you know, like I said, everybody's journey is different and what they want from it is different. And it's not for me to tell people what they should or shouldn't want. They tell me what their goals are and we facilitate. So with regards to commitment, yeah, that, you know, if people are coming in and they're turning up and they're working hard. So, you know, whether they stick to a nutrition plan or not, or what their nutrition plan's goals are, it could just be to support what they have to do all day, or, you know, to make them feel better. And like I said, to help recovery or to improve their sleep. And so, yeah, I think if you turn up to Raw, if you're willing to come in and put in the hard work, then 100% you've committed seriously. And it's 3 times a week is a big chunk of people's lives. Yeah. You know, I don't see my friends three times a week.
Yeah,
you know,
I know.
And you see your clients more than more than you see your own friends and family.
True. And is that why you started it? Because you wanted to help people? Like, is that the reason?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. Without a doubt. It's a funny shift, because as an athlete, you're super selfish and you have to be. So the most important thing is your next performance, your next training session. I wouldn't do anything that didn't benefit my skating.
Okay.
My next training session is in 2 hours. If someone said, "Oh, do you want to go for coffee?" I'd say, no, I'm busy. I'm not busy. I'm lying on the floor with my feet in the air, icing my back, or, you know, eating my food, or doing video analysis, or whatever it was. You know, I wouldn't do anything that didn't complement what I was doing. So you have to be super, super selfish. And then when I started personal training, it took a little bit of time, because at first I thought, I want to win an Olympic medal. I don't care if this guy loses a stone or not. He doesn't even really want to, you know. Yeah. So it's like until you see how much it changes people, and what it does for people. You know, when you give somebody confidence, it changes every thought, everything they say, everything they think. Is different. You know, the first thing they think in the morning is more positive. So the person they speak to next in a more positive way, they have a different response from that person. And then all of a sudden, everything in their life is changing. And it was just because, you know, they started this journey and they started feeling good about themselves, and they're finally doing something for them and looking after themselves, and all the benefits that come with that. So that's the most rewarding thing for sure. So when I said, you know, you have people come in, they're crying their consultation, they feel terrible. 12 weeks later, they're wearing little hot pants and feeling amazing, and, you know, so making decisions in their life that they wouldn't have made before. Yes. That's amazing. It's like, if you don't get job satisfaction from that, there's something wrong with you.
It's like therapy. Like you're actually healing people. So like that must be super rewarding for you and for the trainers as well. Yeah.
So then it became more about other people and how rewarding that is, rather than, you know, just winning something for yourself.
Exactly. Okay, so we're almost out of time, and I don't want to keep you because you have such a busy schedule, and I know that, but I want to keep you for as long as I can. Tell us about your work here in Dubai. What are you doing here in Dubai, and what are you launching? You spoke about Roar 4, I think, during the conversation.
So the 4th site we came here to open. So we're on the boulevard. It's a super nice spot, right? And we have floor-to-ceiling windows, and I think the novelty of doing squats next to palm trees. Yes, you don't get that in London, right?
No, you wouldn't.
so yeah, we moved over here to do that. We always wanted to go international. We didn't quite know where, and then actually, I said the only good thing that came out of the pandemic was the fact that we spent some extended time here. Okay. Because I just needed to escape in the end, and it was one of the only places you could go, right? So we came and stayed here for a few weeks. And we just kind of fell in love with it. It was something that just, you know, happened during that time. And I think when you have significant time off, you get creative. You don't have to deal with your day-to-day of, you know, fixing whatever things are going wrong, or just even just, you know, your daily emails being so much and everything. Then as soon as you don't have to do those things, then you can start to think outside the box a little bit, and you start talking and coming up with ideas and being creative. So I think we got really excited about it, and we're like, right, let's start looking for properties. And it happened so fast. We came over. Well, the thing is, my last gym in Kensington took 3 years. So it's 2 years of lease negotiations. Oof. So I was expecting it to be long and slow for this too. And we came in, we looked at a few properties. We looked at maybe 15 properties. And then actually the first one we looked at, we were like, that's the best one. Should we just try? Let's just put an offer in and see what happens. It was accepted. And then it was like, okay, how do you do a business in Dubai? Like, we need to move. We weren't ready. We hadn't thought about it because I thought, well, it's going to be drawn out, but it wasn't. 2 weeks, signed. So instead
Don't you just love when things happen and just work out?
Yeah, it was supposed to, right? So that was, like I said, it was super, super fast, and which I like. I like that pace. I like being behind. I like being under pressure. I like having to deliver, because then you don't have time to think and question it and change your mind and stuff. It's like, let's just go with it, just run and just. Just keep picking up after yourself.
Exactly.
And because you have no option other than to deliver. So, it's, like I said, it's the kind of pace that I like. When these things just fall in your lap or fall into place, it's like, right, now you've got to go. Whatever you're doing, stop, run. And that's what happened. And we opened in Jan. And we didn't know anybody here. Again, no marketing or anything. And it's like, okay, we need to find our feet. We need to spread the word. Who do I know? And it turns out actually half of London is in Dubai half the time.
Yes.
So
true.
Far more people than you thought you would.
Yes.
Right. And everybody's linked. Obviously, it's kind of a small place. So.
And it's a stopover for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people stop over here, move here eventually, that kind of thing. So So you actually moved here.
Yeah.
You're now based here.
Yeah. We moved here, relocated.
Wow.
I go back to London regularly.
Okay.
To check in on the gyms, see the staff, see the clients.
Yes.
See my family, obviously.
Yeah.
And catch up with everybody and everything. So we go back, every few weeks we go back. So I'm going back in a couple of days.
I was just going to say, how do you find that balance between, owning this business and work and your personal life? Like, how do you manage?
I think I'm lucky. So I miss my family a lot. I speak to them every day. I'm really close with my family and my siblings. My brother actually works for me. He heads up nutrition in London.
Okay, that's great.
It's great. And so that bit I find difficult. But other than that, I think I don't really need anyone. I'm one of these people that I think I'm pretty self-sufficient. So I don't rely on anybody to download on every day or anything like that. So I think I'm kind of tough in that respect. It's me and my husband, and we support each other, back each other 100%, and we're in this together. So I think when you have a real ally, when you've got somebody with the same vision, same focus, I think that makes it much, much easier.
Of course.
The balance is up to you. I do have balance. My mornings are on my own. I've got 2 hours in the morning where I don't look at my phone. I don't deal with anything else other than myself. So I have my routine, which for me, I know people bang on about their morning routines. It's a bit dull now, but but it's super important to my life, because I know that the next thing that I have to deal with, I'm going to be much nicer for whoever it is I'm talking to.
Yes.
I'm much more equipped to handle whatever stresses might come my way, or So that for me is really important, and I sort of worked towards that, and that helps keep me, I think, in a really good place. And then you can deal with whatever happens in the day. Right? Nothing's going to be harder than getting in a freezing cold ice bath.
No, exactly. So. Nothing's harder than that. So it's good to have the right support system, obviously.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important to have some support and have people that you can speak to if you need to. Yeah. So like I say, I don't rely on my friends or anything for that. They're there if I need them, for sure, and I've got my my core of friends. But I think just knowing that you have them is enough.
Yeah.
Just knowing if I ever needed people, they'd be there for me, and my family, again, like I said, we're super close. Yeah. So if I needed them, they'd be there, which I think means you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's super sweet. Sarah, it was lovely. Thank you so much for coming down, and thank you for giving us from your time. I know you have such a busy schedule. Guys, if you want to check out Roar, it's in the Boulevard, you were saying, downtown.
Yes. And it's ROAR. Some people get confused with that because they think raw is in raw food, but it's roar like a lion. Yeah.
Roar like roar.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
good
cool. Got it, yeah. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you, Sarah, for joining us. Please check her out. If you have any questions, you can email us on podcast@gulfnews.com. We can we'll try to forward the questions to Sarah, see if she can answer them, and we'll try to bring her back for sure. We'll catch you guys next time.